Imagine this, a young black woman riding down a cracked, uneven street on a bicycle so old it looked like it belonged in a junkyard. The seat was ripped open, stuffing spilling out. The chain squeaked with every turn of the pedals. The paint was chipped, the tires nearly bald, and the handlebars were wrapped with nothing but old tape. To most people, it wasn't even a bike worth riding. But to Maya, it was her ticket to freedom. The sun had barely risen, the street still wrapped in a sleepy silence, when Maya pushed herself forward, sweat already dripping down her forehead. Her legs pumped furiously as if she was racing against the whole world. But the world? The world was laughing. Neighbors leaning against fences shook their heads. Children pointed at her as she whizzed by, giggling and calling out cruel names. "Where are you going, Tour de France?" One boy jeered, his friends bursting into laughter. A man on his porch spat on the ground and muttered, "Dreaming won't feed you, girl. Go find real work." Even some of her own relatives sighed in frustration whenever they saw her with that bike, telling her she was wasting her life. Every laugh cut like a blade, every word stung like fire. But Maya didn't slow down, because deep inside she knew something they didn't. Every time her legs burned, every time her chest felt like it was going to explode, she wasn't just building strength, she was building armor. The world had already decided her limits. She was determined to prove them wrong. Maya wasn't born into privilege. She didn't have money for a new bike, didn't have a coach, didn't have a gym membership or a professional track to train on. What she had was a dream so big it didn't fit inside the small box society had tried to shove her into. Her mornings were for the bike. Her afternoons were for school, where the same whispers followed her. Why does she think she's different? She's crazy. Olympics, please. But what they didn't see were the nights. Nights when Maya sat at the edge of her bed, sore and bruised, whispering to herself, "One day they'll see me. One day they'll know my name." Her bike rides weren't just training sessions. They were battles. Battles against doubt. Battles against stereotypes. Battles against a world that kept telling her she didn't belong in sports, that someone like her wasn't meant for greatness. And yet she kept riding. Rain or shine, hot or freezing cold, Maya was out there. Some days her legs cramped so badly she could barely walk home. Other days her vision blurred from exhaustion. Still, she refused to stop. Because for her, quitting wasn't an option. Then came the day everything shifted. One quiet morning as Maya sped down the street, cutting through the wind like a shadow, a man parked on the corner noticed her. He was a retired coach, someone who had worked with young athletes before. At first he thought she was just another kid fooling around. But the more he watched, the more he saw something different. Her form, her determination, the raw, unpolished speed bursting out of her with every push. He approached her later that day, introducing himself. "Do you know how fast you were going?" he asked, half in disbelief. Maya laughed nervously, embarrassed by her beat-up bike. But the man's eyes were serious. "I've trained athletes for years," he said, "and I've never seen talent like yours. You have something special." For the first time, someone believed in her. It wasn't easy from there, far from it. The world of professional cycling was a fortress guarded by wealth and privilege. Most athletes came with brand new bikes, expensive gear, and full-time trainers. Maya walked in with second-hand clothes and a fire in her soul. The other cyclists sneered at her, some even laughing out loud. "She's the girl from the streets," they whispered. "She doesn't belong here." But Maya didn't need their approval. She had already survived harsher laughter. She had already conquered tougher streets. Their insults? They were nothing compared to what she had endured. And as she gripped the handlebars of her first professional training bike, she knew this wasn't just about proving them wrong. This was about proving herself right. Because Maya wasn't chasing a dream anymore. She was chasing destiny. The stadium buzzed like a hive, thousands of voices blending into a roar of energy. Cameras flashed, commentators hyped up the event. And across the world, millions tuned in to watch. This was the Olympic final, the race that every cyclist dreamed of. And there she was, Maya, the girl who once rode a rusty, broken bicycle through cracked streets, now stood at the starting line with the world's best. She tightened her grip on the handlebars, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it echo inside her helmet. The other athletes were confident, even smug. They had trained with the best coaches, had the finest equipment, and came from families who had supported them since childhood. To them, Maya was an underdog, an outsider who had somehow slipped through the cracks into their world. Some smirked at her, just like the neighbors had years ago. But Maya wasn't looking at them. Her eyes were locked on the track ahead. The referee raised the gun. Bang! The riders exploded forward like arrows. Tires screeched against the pavement, legs pumping furiously. Maya started slow, her nerves gripping her. Commentators murmured, already doubting her chances. She's falling behind, one said. This race may be too big for her, another added. But Maya had learned not to listen to voices that doubted her. She found her rhythm, pushing harder with every breath. Her muscles screamed, but her spirit roared louder. With each lap she picked up speed, one cyclist down, another overtaken. The crowd began to notice. "Wait, Maya's moving up!" one commentator shouted. Her coach on the sidelines jumped, waving his arms. "Go, Maya! You've got this!" The final lap came. The leading cyclist, a champion from Europe, was meters ahead. The gold medal seemed locked in his grasp. But then Maya's legs turned into pistons of fire. Every insult, every laugh, every tear she had endured powered her forward. The gap closed. Inch by inch, second by second, the crowd rose to their feet. The tension was unbearable. And then she did it. Maya surged ahead in the final stretch, flying past the leader with a burst of speed no one saw coming. The finish line blurred before her eyes. She crossed it first. The stadium erupted like thunder. Commentators screamed, "Unbelievable! History has been made." Cameras zoomed in as Maya slowed to a stop, tears streaming down her face. Gold. She had done it. On the podium, the medal hung heavy around her neck, but not as heavy as the journey that brought her there. The same girl once laughed at for riding a broken bike now stood as an Olympic champion. And in that moment, Maya didn't just win for herself, she won for every person who was ever doubted.